Welcome to the Bold and Determined Podcast, my friendly friends. I am your host, Victor Pride. It has been about 2 years since I have spoken to you directly on a podcast. And I tell you, I recently took a trip to the mountains in northern New Mexico, where I spent time camping for about a week and a half. And on the drive up there, I listened to a lot of podcasts, and I realized that there's a lot of power in the podcast. And it made me real excited to get back here and to speak to you directly with no middleman, no agenda, no advertisements, no nothing. Just me to you. By the way, you will hear some background noise, some airplanes, some birds, some lawnmowers, some whatever you do here. You'll just have to deal with that. Now, a bunch of you did ask me some questions, and I'd like to answer those for you, so let's jump right in. James asks, should you save up money and leave your job or get income established from your own business before leaving a job? That's a great question, James, and I would say that, yes, I'm an advocate of leaving your job and going into business for yourself, but the best way to do it is to have money saved up and a way to make more income, because you don't want to leave your job and just have no way to pay your bills. You want to have a way to pay your bills, and it's more important to have a way to get income to replace the income you lost from your job. When I quit my last job many years ago as an insurance salesman, I'd had a way to make money. Now, I didn't have very much money saved up. I could have lasted about 2 months, but I had this certain way to make money. I was doing real estate investing, and I had a contract on a house that I knew I could make money on if I just focused on it. And within a month, I was able to make $4,000, which was more money than I'd ever had in my life. But if I'd quit my job with nothing, with no way to make an income, no money, I'd be right back to square one with nothing. So when you are looking to quit your job, you do want to replace that income. And more important than saving money is having a way to replace your monthly income. Vlad asks, do you have additional tips for non-English bloggers with less exposure because much less people speak your language? Or is it absolutely the same game as in English blogs? Well, Vlad, my number one tip for you as a non-English blogger would be to learn English very well. The reason you want to learn English very well is because you want to get paid for your work. And in the English-speaking world, we have the infrastructure to get you paid for your work. We have things like PayPal and Stripe and all these different ways that people can pay you for your work. Now, we were working in Russia before on a Russian language, Bold and Determined, but we found it very hard to be able to accept payment. Now, this was several years ago. Things may have changed now, but we were having a very difficult time finding ways to get paid because at that time they did not have the infrastructure to deal with online payments for ebooks and things like that. So the reason you want to become a master at English is so you can get paid. And in the English world, we have the infrastructure to get you paid. Vios asks, do you plan on posting more about experiences you are currently having? For example, posts about trips you take, places you visit, etc. Well, Vios, the quick answer to your question is no. And I'll give you a couple reasons for that. I'm not going to do those travel posts. Number one, because I'm not a travel blogger. I'm not a travel agent. I don't make any money from promoting some travel destination. So it's kind of silly for me to do it if I don't make money. And number two, when I go to travel to places, I want to experience the place without having to constantly take photos of food, take note of the hotel, take note of the price of this or that, so that I can record an article about it. I want to be there and be with the people in the present. And the reason I like to travel is because travel opens up your perspective. It gives you new ideas on new things, but you have to be there present in the moment to get those new ideas and new experiences. If you're always trying to write articles about the breakfast you had in the service at the hotel, you're going to miss everything else about the place. Now, I've seen a lot of travel bloggers in places like Vietnam. They'll go to restaurants, they'll order 5 different dishes of food. They'll be eating from 5 plates of food. They'll be recording pictures and writing about whatever food, but they're missing the experience. They're not really there. So those are the 2 reasons that no, I'm not going to do travel posts. Next question is from Rob. Rob asks, what is your opinion on casual sex? Society seems to convey the stereotype that everyone should be sleeping around. I reached 28 and I have only slept with 2 women. Should I be getting more experience? Well, Rob, my opinion on casual sex is dual. It makes society degenerate, and on the other hand, it's a lot of fun. So, should you be getting more experience? That really depends on you. I couldn't imagine going through my 20s and not having a good time, let's just say that. But some people are different, to each their own. If you don't have the drive for it, I would suggest that there's something maybe wrong with testosterone levels, and I would want to get those looked into, because it was a necessity for me at that age. So, but it does make society just degenerate as a whole. It really ruins society. It really ruins the people, in my opinion. So my basic view on casual sex is negative. However, you get my point. Octavio asks, is there an ideal frequency for posting new material when starting out blogging? Yeah, there is. I would say 1 to 3 blog posts per week is going to be ideal when you first start out. Did I follow that? No. My first year, I might write 20 articles one month and then 2 articles the next month. So I never followed a frequency. I simply followed what I wanted to say when I wanted to say it. So if I had something to say, I would write it. If I didn't have anything to say, I wouldn't write it. However, I would say 1 to 3 blog articles per week for the first year is your best bet. He goes on to ask, when is the right time to start monetizing your blog? What sort of metrics or signals can we use to gauge the efficiency or proper direction of our website, especially in the beginning? Easy answer for you, Octavio. That answer is going to be your commenters. Your readers will tell you directly when they want to pay you. They will tell you directly how your website is going, if it's good, if it's not good. If you're not getting any comments, you are not going to make any sales, so it would not make any sense to publish an ebook. Your readers will tell you exactly when it's time. They'll say, we want to give you money. How do we do it? All you have to do is listen to them. And if you're not getting readers, then the content is not connecting with the people, and it's going to be difficult to make sales. You want to connect with people, and after you connect, then you can worry about ebooks and monetization and all that. I personally spent 1 year simply trying to connect with people and writing articles for people. First year, I had no care about monetizing the blog at all. I was just writing. And when I had an audience, when they were saying, we want to give you money, that's when I took the next step. Octavio has a third question. He says, if you write about something on your blog, believing it to be true, but later on find out that it was not true, do you remove the old content? Do you change it? Or do you keep it as it was and just write a new post? That's a great question, and I'll do all 3 of those. If it's an entire post that I disagree with, I will simply remove it. If it's part of a post that I disagree with, I will simply change that part of the post. Or if it's a very, very popular post, but I tend to disagree with it, I will say so in a later article. So I never like to leave anything that I disagree with. So I will change it in one of those areas. And I do frequently remove articles that I just don't believe in anymore. Max asks, do you have some questions yourself that you still haven't found answers to, or some concepts or ideas that are troubling you? That's a great question. And Marcus asked me a question about a year ago, it seems. He asked me, how do you create something out of nothing? And that question seems so simple at first, but it took me a real long time to get to the answer. And the reason it took me such a long time to get to the answer for the question, how do you create something out of nothing, is that it's a trick question. And I'll explain what I mean. Let me just explain it by giving you the answer. How do you create something out of nothing? Magic. That's how you create something out of nothing. It's magic. But you have to understand what magic is. Magic is an illusion. When you go to see a magic show and the magician cuts the lady in half and you see her legs separate from her upper body, her legs are not really cut off from her body. It's an illusion. It looks that way, but it's not that way. So how do you create something out of nothing? You can't. It's impossible. You have to have the ingredients to create something. If you don't have the ingredients, nothing can possibly be created. So if you want to write an article or write a book or paint a picture, you have to have the ingredients already in your head. The thoughts are already in your head, and you make the thoughts become a reality. But you can't do that without the necessary ingredients, the thoughts or the vision or the idea. And you can't do it without a pen and paper or a computer or a paintbrush and a canvas. You have to have all of these things that seemingly create something out of nothing. But what you did was you took other resources and put them together in such a way that you created something that didn't exist before, but not out of nothing, out of a little bit of something. It looks like magic, but again, you must know what magic is. It is an illusion. So how do you create something out of nothing? It's a trick question. You cannot create something out of nothing. When you do, it appears to be magic, but you are a magician behind the scenes, and you're just putting this piece together with that piece together with this piece together with that piece to create it. And that's the answer. Now you can understand why that is a topic that is difficult to explain or to come up for the answer to. Max asks another question. What do you specifically think about during chaos that enables you to make better decisions? Max, that's a great question. And the answer is chaos brings the best out of people. Chaos makes your mind clear in a way that calm does not. When you're too calm, your mind gets muddy and unclear. But when chaos is happening around you, it acts to make your mind crystal clear so you know exactly what you need to do and exactly what you want. Now, it's also important to just simply stay unemotional in times of chaos. And that's pretty easy to do, I've found, because you become more emotional in times of calm when nothing is going on. When chaos is happening around you, it's very easy to not get drawn into this thing or that thing because there's so much going on that you tend to just block out the emotional part of it and think rationally. Now, I've heard that people, when they come home from war and they suffer from PTSD, a lot of people say that it's from, war was so horrible and they had such a bad time. Now they're having trouble coping. But that's not true. The reality is that people actually had a really good time in war because they had a specific purpose and they were doing work at their very, very best because they were in times of chaos. And when they leave that chaos and go to calm, they become, what is the right word here? They become mentally ill, or they become complacent, or they become sad, or all of these different things because they no longer have a purpose. They no longer have clarity. They no longer have this chaos, which ironically gives them calm. So it's been said that people in times of peace, they would be stuck at the sanitarium or the asylum, unable to function because they're so neurotic. But then when war breaks out, these people can go drive ambulances and become doctors on the field and really thrive. So it seems as though chaos really helps you be a better man. Sam asks, what is your opinion about starting a business or blog in a market that is saturated, like weight loss? I've lost over 100 pounds and understand the mentality of weight loss, but I don't want to be drowned out by 10 million other people. Well, what you call saturated, Sam, is what I call evergreen. An evergreen topic is a topic that is always in style. It is always necessary. Now, you call it saturated, but go walk outside. Do you see fat people still? Yes, you do. What does that mean? It means that the market is not saturated because people are still fat. All you have to do is look. They're still fat, so they still need your help. If you've lost over 100 pounds, you have the necessary ingredients to show them how to do it as well. This is an evergreen topic, always necessary. People are still fat. They still need your help. And when people, I get real antsy when people say words like saturated. There's no such thing as saturated. It is an excuse you use to do nothing. If you have lost 100 pounds and you know how to do it, you have a duty to show other people the way. There are not 10 million other people doing it because people are still fat. So it is not saturated. It is evergreen. It is a market that will always be open for you. So take advantage of it, Sam. Anta asks, What do you think about creating and selling custom apparel or merchandise designs online? Well, Anta, that's fine, but what you want to make sure is that people actually want to buy your apparel and designs. Now, just because you create these designs does not mean people want to buy them. You want to sell what people are buying. You don't want to sell just something you think is cool because you designed it. So the apparel market can be very difficult because, again, you want to make sure that people want to buy it. It has to be popular. There has to be a desire and a want for it. If there's no desire or want for it, you're not going to sell anything. So it's great to sell custom apparel and merchandise online, but make sure that there is a demand for it before you put a lot of money into it. Next question is from G. G asks, Victor, why did you delete all Full Color Godcast records in all platforms? Well, G, that's a great question. The answer is I simply am not happy with the quality of it. I was not happy with the video content. I was not happy with the audio content. And it's really as simple as that. And it's quite funny because the Full Color Godcast probably got the most positive response of anything I've done. And around the time I was doing the Full Color Godcast, I was getting recognized anywhere I went. When I went to the beach, I was getting recognized. When I went to the gym, I was getting recognized. When I went to the coffee shop, the supermarket, I was getting recognized everywhere. But again, it comes down to you as the creator. How do you feel about it? And for me, it was not up to the quality that I wanted. There was just something missing from it that I couldn't put my finger on. So perhaps it will come back in the future when I figure it out fully. Ryan asks, Victor, how old were you when you first started lifting weights? Well, I was a young buck of 23 years old when I picked up my first weight. Florio asks, I've been having problems lately with my sleep pattern. I had time when I would wake up at 7 a.m. and I would feel good. Do you think it is a must for humans to wake up early? And Vios asks another question about sleep. Let me read that for you. Victor, any advice on how to reduce the time necessary for sleep? I hate sleeping 8 hours. During 30 days of discipline, I slept less, about 6, and I loved having the extra time. I feel a bit grumpy in the first couple of hours after waking up from less sleep, but other than that, there is no difference. Okay, here's one thing that I've changed my mind on. I used to say that sleep was overrated and people slept too much and this and that. Well, I've changed my mind on it. I have realized the absolute necessity of getting the proper amount of sleep. So I do not recommend that you force yourself to wake up early anymore. I recommend that you get enough sleep. Now, you did mention that if you sleep for 8 hours, you feel fine, but when you sleep for 6, you like having the extra time, but for those 2 hours, you feel groggy. And I would feel the same thing. I would wake up at 7 a.m. every day, rain or shine, no matter what time I went to sleep. And I would often have hours of feeling groggy and feeling foggy and just not being really awake. I was in between the world of sleep and wakefulness. And it would take me a couple of hours. And I realized that if I just stayed in bed for an extra 2 hours and got that sleep, I would wake up feeling refreshed. So I was able to realize that there's no point in sleeping for 6 hours and being in between sleep and awake for 2 hours when you could simply sleep for 8 hours and wake up feeling refreshed. So I recommend that you get appropriate sleep for you. Whatever that is for you, get it. For me, I actually need quite a bit of sleep, I've found out, because I toss and turn 1,000 times per night, wake up 1,000 times per night. So I like to get about 9.5 hours sleep. When I get 9.5 hours of sleep, I wake up feeling refreshed and ready to go. I do not have that foggy and groggy feeling in the morning. I wake up feeling good. So I make sure and I get my sleep now. And it has really, really impacted my life in a great way. I don't have to drink coffee. I don't have to take any kind of stimulants. I don't have to drink black tea. I simply wake up and I feel good. Next question is from Sanjay. Sanjay asks, I have started an e-business 8 months ago and I'm making sales and I'm making quite a lot. But making this money has made me a little lazy and complacent. How do I move past this hump? Well, Sanjay, that's a great question. When you start making money online, it feels a little bit like receiving welfare because you make money whether you work or whether you don't work. Once you set the program in place, you always make money. It always comes in no matter what you do. And this can make you really, really lazy and complacent because if you have money coming in, why do anything else? It is a little like receiving welfare. I found the key to getting past this is to move into a completely different direction. Do a completely new market, a completely new product, a completely new whatever, something that really excites you. Because if you keep doing the same thing, well, you're not going to have any incentive to work harder because you're already making all this money. So the answer is to do something new, and that's it. Scott asks, I signed up for BadNet and started a blog 2 years ago. My life has totally changed for the better because all the doors opened with an e-business. How many people do you feel sign up for BadNet and never follow through with it because they didn't get the instantaneous results they expected? Well, I would say that's probably 99% of people give up when they don't get instantaneous results. And I told you before, I didn't make any money for the first year, and that was by design. I knew I was not going to make any money for the first year, so I was prepared for that. But so many people think they're going to do some work today and make money tomorrow or even this afternoon. And when it doesn't come in instantly, they give up. It is very, very important in this game to have the patience of a saint. It's not going to happen for you overnight. It's not going to happen for you next month. You probably start to make a little money next year. And then third year, fourth year, fifth year is when you make really, really good money. So about 99% of the people give up. 1% stick through. And that's why the 1% deserve what they get and the 99% deserve nothing. Steven asks, according to you, can we train the same muscles every day? Well, you can train the muscles every day, but that would be kind of pointless because if you train the same muscles every day, you would be skipping other muscles. You cannot train every single muscle in your body every day because you don't have enough time in the day. So yes, you can as a whole train your muscles every day. Athletes do it when they hit the field. Gymnasts do it every day. Other athletes do it every day. So yes, you can do it every day. I recommend you change your muscle groups daily so that you are able to train each muscle group individually. Now, like Jack LaLanne said, the only way to hurt your body is to not use it. So I do recommend that you use your body every day. In fact, you can train the same muscles every day if you feel like it. But again, there's no point because you want to train every single muscle, and it takes a rotation to be able to do this. Sebas asks, what do you think about Patreon? Now, Patreon is a program where people can donate money to you every month. So, for example, if you're a content creator on YouTube, if you're a podcaster, if you're a blogger, and you don't have a way to monetize your content, you can simply ask people to give you money on Patreon. And if your people like the work you do, they will sign up to give you $1, $5, $10, $100 every month. And I don't like being a beg artist. I don't like begging for money, but it is a good way to get some income for your work if you don't have any other way to monetize your work. Now, somebody I watch is Styx Hexenhammer 666. He creates videos on YouTube, and I watch him specifically because I want to see what he's doing on Patreon. At this exact moment, he's making $4,189 per month on Patreon just by making YouTube videos and not selling anything. Now, it seems like I've seen him up above $8,000 a month on Patreon. So I watch his Patreon just to see what's possible on Patreon. And it really does seem that if you are dedicated and you put in the time to doing your work, you can make a pretty good living on Patreon. $4,000 a month, that can replace your working salary. So that's pretty decent money. Sebastian asks, I'd like to know what your new income stream is you are currently working on. Well, Sebastian, we are currently working on a new supplement line that's going to be specifically for Amazon. And Amazon is now the #1 search engine for buying products. People go to Amazon to search for something to buy more than they go to Google now. So in previous years, we would always market for Google. We would do search engine optimization for Google so we can appear in the search results for Google on the first page. But things are moving towards Amazon, and we are building a new supplement line that caters to the Amazon crowd. So look out for that. When that releases, I'm going to give the listeners of the podcast a 10% discount on the new anti-estrogen product and the new pro-testosterone product. So keep your ears out for that. Next question is from Stan. Best ways for a young man age 19 to make money online or in real life? And he has another question, which is, how can we move towards living a more natural life, living in nature, etc.? Well, Stan, the best way to make money at 19 is to not need money. The best way to make money is to not have any bills so that you don't actually need a lot of money. At age 19, it's going to be very difficult to make a lot of money. So instead of trying to focus on some job or some college, it's better to reduce your expenses to a bare minimum. And ironically, that's how you can live a more natural life, living in nature, etc. Now, if I were 19 today, this is what I would do. I would buy an RV, a school bus, a van. I would convert it to a living space. I would put a toilet in it. I would put a shower in it, a sink, a refrigerator, a kitchen counter, solar power, and a solar converter so that I have electricity. And I would drive that thing around from here to there, park it at your family's house, park it at your friend's house. I would live in that so that I would not have any bills whatsoever. That's the number one thing you want to do. Get rid of all of your bills. Get rid of all bills. When I first started B&D, the only reason I was able to make it for an entire year without money is because I did not have any bills. At that time, I got a job teaching English in China 2 days a week, and they gave me a free apartment. Now, I got rid of my apartment in the States. I sold my car in the States. I didn't have any credit card debt. I didn't have any bills. So I went to China with no bills and a free apartment. And that was the best thing I ever did because that gave me an entire year to just create content and not worry about making any money. So it's very, very important if you want to make it as an artist or as a creator or as an entrepreneur that you get rid of all of your bills. And that will give you time to focus on making money. And there are many, many ways to make money. As a 19-year-old, you can make money on YouTube. You can make money as a podcaster. You can make money as a blogger. You can make money selling stuff on eBay, Craigslist, Amazon, Etsy. There are a million billion different ways, but the key is to get rid of all bills. Joseph asks, what are your views on electromagnetic radiation, technology addiction, and social media? Well, electromagnetic radiation, also known as RF exposure or RF poisoning, it's very, very bad for you. However, we are all bathed in it. But there is one thing you can do. You never, ever, ever, never put your phone up to your ear to talk on it. When you talk on the phone, you always put it on speakerphone. Now, no matter where I am in the world, if I'm in the government office filling out some forms to get a visa, if I'm in the supermarket, if I'm at the DMV, if I'm at the county clerk's office, it does not matter where I am. I always put my phone on speaker. I never put the phone up to my ear. Putting the phone up to your ear is like putting a microwave up to your ear. It's cooking your brain, and we're going to see a lot of increase in brain cancer. And if you don't believe me, well then get your iPhone, go to settings, go to general, go to legal, go to RF exposure, and in legalese, they say the exact same thing. They say they recommend you use your hands-free device for talking on the phone. So they know all about it. They've hidden it in legal talk, but it's right there. You should never put the phone up to your ear. Regarding technology addiction and social media addiction, golly, it's ruining society. What can I say? We all know this. Everybody knows this. It's ruining society. It's ruining the minds of people. Everybody who's addicted to social media, their minds have just turned to mush. So, and you see it everywhere. Everywhere you go, you see these zombies walking around, taking photos of themselves, uploading it to social media this, social media that. People have a very difficult time even speaking today. Even having a conversation, people really can't do it today. Yeah. Technology addiction and social media. On one hand, technology makes our lives a lot better. We have the ability to make all this money online. We don't have to go to work jobs anymore. On the other hand, it turns your mind into mush. So that's that. Marquise asks, what do you think about the X3 bar exercise equipment for staying shape on the road? I'm a truck driver. Well, I've never used it. I can't say anything about it. I will say the most important thing to me when driving a vehicle for long stretches is getting out to stretch your legs, to stretch your lower back. And specifically, you want to stretch your hamstrings and your psoas muscles. The psoas muscles are near the groin and the hamstrings are the back of your leg. When you sit down for too long, the hamstrings start to rot off, basically. They're not being used, and it can shorten your leg. It can make you You're walking funny. It can give you lower back pain. So it's very, very important. When I take a long road trip, I'd like to get out about every hour and a half. I stretch my hamstrings, I stretch my lower back, and I stretch the psoas muscle. To stretch the psoas, you're going to put one knee on the ground and one foot on the ground. And actually, if you simply go to this article on boldthendetermined.com, I will show you a picture or a video of the best way to stretch your psoas muscles. So it's very, very important, Marquise, when you're out driving all the time to get out and stretch. Because if you don't do it, it's going to lead to back pain and all kinds of nasty things. Andrew asks, "Hi, Uncle Vic. I'm a Filipino, a Spartan warrior, and a B&D reader. I'm 22 years old. I left my family in the Philippines, and I'm recently working in Saudi Arabia as a waiter for 2 years with $400 monthly salary. I miss my home, and homesickness is growing. I want to ask, what would you advise for me to be able to stay motivated and fired up in life?" Andrew, I would simply think about my family and all the money you're going to be able to send back to your family and all the good you're going to be able to provide for your family. What you are doing is sacrificing for them, and you will have to go through this loneliness. You will have to go through this time where you miss your family, but think about all the good that the money will bring them. Silo asks, "What is a good diet or meal plan to follow during pregnancy? What should we avoid?" This is a great question. Very glad you asked this. I'm going to give you my top 4 foods for pregnant ladies, and your number 1 is going to be grass-fed beef liver. Grass-fed beef liver is the best food you can eat on planet Earth. It is the most nutrient-dense food on Earth, the most vitamin-dense food on Earth. Now, it is important that it is grass-fed and not grain-fed. When you see the cows in the feedlots being fed grain, those cows are all sick. The grain that they're eating is making them sick, and to keep them healthy, the ranchers give them antibiotics and other medicines. So these are sick animals that we buy in the supermarket. Now, you have to be very careful about buying organic food or grass-fed food in the supermarket, because there are a lot of loopholes where they can label something as grass-fed when it's really not, or they can label it as organic when it's really not. So I recommend you get out to a farmer, a rancher who you can see what they're doing, and you can see that they are feeding their animals grass and they're not giving them antibiotics. You can go to eatwild.com and you can type in your state, and you can find all the ranchers and farmers in your state who are selling grass-fed beef, natural chicken, natural pork, natural lamb, all this kind of things. And the meat is going to be more expensive, but it's going to be so much better for you. It's going to have the vitamins, the essential amino acids, the essential fatty acids that you need. And so your best food as a pregnant lady is going to be grass-fed beef liver. And then grass-fed beef, the meat, is also going to be very, very good and nutritious for you. Another great food for you is wild-caught salmon. Wild-caught salmon is also another great food with your essential fatty acids and vitamins. And also salmon roe, which is salmon eggs. They're very, very nutrient-dense and quite tasty. You can buy those at your local fish market, your local Asian market. I buy them at the Asian market. I found that the Asian markets in the States have the best fish by far. So as a pregnant lady, grass-fed beef, wild-caught liver. Stay away from grains and stay away from vegetable oil. Stay away from anything made from corn, soybeans, or wheat. And do not eat vegetable oil. Vegetable oil is a lie. It's not made from vegetables. It's usually made from soybeans. It's actually soybean oil. And this stuff clogs your arteries, and this is one thing that actually causes heart disease. So stay away from vegetable oils and grains. Eat your butter, eat your eggs, eat your bacon, eat all your nutrient-dense animal foods. These are the best foods you can have during pregnancy. These are all your high nutrient and vitamin-dense foods. Matt asks, "What's the best way to make money without having to commute, travel, deal with people, or be a people person? I physically hate my office job now and can't take any more. The money is good, but I'm trapped in having to pay bills. I would rather be dead than carry on like this. I like this idea of online trading, but don't know where is the best place to start with. The internet is a vast jungle of useful but also dangerous information." Well, Matt, the best thing you want to do if you physically hate your office job, but you're stuck because you have to pay bills, is to get rid of the bills. Get rid of all of the bills, and then you can quit and be free. It is very, very important. You'll never be able to quit your job if you have bills. You will always be stuck to your slave job if you have bills to pay. If you have a mortgage, sell your house. If you have rent, see if you can live with parents or live with friends or get an RV or something like this so you can get rid of that. If you have a car payment, sell your car and buy a cash car. If you have credit card debt, stop buying stuff on credit cards. Do not go into debt for any reason. Get rid of your bills. Then you will be free. Regarding making money online trading, you can start looking at Bitcoin. I know a lot of people over these past years who've made a lot of money in Bitcoin. It's made a lot of difference in their lives. I know people who were struggling and then started getting into Bitcoin and are no longer struggling. There are also a million other ways you can start, but Bitcoin and other cryptocurrency would be a good place to start. But first of all, get rid of all of your bills. Sounds like they're mowing the lawns around here. You're just going to have to deal with it, friends. JMO asks, what do you do now on a daily basis? Still working from home, going to the gym and the grocery store? I actually want to know about your mission and when will you go back to the States? Well, JMO, I've spent the last year and a half traveling. Basically, I've not been in the same spot for more than 2 months in the past year and a half. I've been traveling here, been traveling there, road trips, plane trips, islands, mountains, cities. So that's what I do. And yes, I do go to the supermarket. I do go to the gym. I do all the same stuff that I've always done. Typically, I'll wake up, I'll get my breakfast, I'll go to a coffee shop, do some work, go to the gym. And after that, I might go on a hike, this or that. So basically, I live my life the same as I always did. I just travel a lot. Love to travel and see new things. And I get real antsy staying in the same place. Nathan asks, what do you think about the MGTOW movement? MGTOW stands for Men Going Their Own Way. And essentially, it means men who don't have anything to do with women. Now, on one hand, I can see why this is a good thing, because getting married today is a raw deal, and I don't recommend getting married because so many dangerous things can happen to you. Your family can be taken away. Your livelihood can be taken away. Everything can be taken away on a whim today. You have no power as a man getting married today, so it's a fool's errand to get married. On the other hand, it's very not a good thing to go through life with no female company. All right, this leads to people becoming serial killers or killing themselves or doing this or doing that or whatever. It's not a good thing. So I'm somewhere right in between. You shouldn't get married, but you should not vow to never have anything to do with females ever again. What you should do is work on yourself. Golly, that sure is loud, huh? What you should do is work on yourself and make yourself more of a dominant figure so that it's hard to be taken advantage of. The more dominant you are, the less females are going to take advantage of you. The more submissive you are, the more you're going to get walked on and be taken advantage of. So work on yourself rather than swear off all females. Work on yourself and make yourself more of a male. Alex asks, can you go into depth why Thai girls are not good marriage material? What countries in the world would you recommend to find a traditional girl? Already tried a few and the rot is everywhere. Okay, Alex, the number one reason Thai girls are not good marriage material is because no girls are good marriage material. All girls at the core essentially act the same way. And the more options they have to get rid of you, they will. And in the particular case of Thai girls, why they're not good marriage material is because they are mercenary. Thai girls are, number one, looking for money and security. Now, they don't actually think of you as a human being or as a person. They think of you as an ATM or as a way to gain security. So Thai people and American people have very, very different value systems. Very, very different. Thai girls, if you spend any time in Thailand, you will notice a trend of men marrying Thai girls, men buying Thai girls a house, and then getting divorced and losing their house, losing their money, and being stuck with nothing and then jumping off of a roof or killing their ex-wife or something like that. Now in Thailand, you cannot own property as a foreigner. So if you buy property, it's going to be in your wife's name. That's just the way it is. So when she wants to leave or when her family starts yapping in her ear, she's got a very good reason to leave you alone and keep the house. Now, Thai girls also love to cheat. All Thai people love to cheat. It's a very sexual country. It's probably one of the top 5 countries where people cheat in the world. So all the men cheat, all the women cheat. That's just the way it is. They say they don't, but they do. Another reason your wife is going to cheat on you if you marry a Thai woman. Now, you can find a special lady here, a special lady there. You can find a great lady here, a great lady there. But as a general rule, as a whole, Thai girls are not good marriage material for the reasons I outlined and the fact that nearly all women in the world are not good marriage material. Sebastian asks, how can one think bigger? I started tattooing a year ago. I can now pay for my basic living expenses exclusively through tattooing, and my income continues to increase as my skills go up. However, at the back of my mind, a voice continues to resonate, reminding me that I could go bigger. Yet I am at a loss of how to do that. Bigger doesn't merely mean more money or women, but also more influence, a larger network, a greater legacy, empire, kingdom. What are your thoughts on that? The way that you can think bigger is by thinking smaller. If you want a greater network, more influence, and a greater legacy, there is one teeny tiny simple little thing you can do. Get better at tattooing. Become the best at what you do. When you are the best, your influence will grow, your network will grow, your legacy will grow. You don't have to think about all these things like empire and kingdom. Just focus on being the absolute best tattoo artist in your niche that you can possibly be. In this way, everything will become bigger. By thinking smaller, your world will become bigger. Sebastian also had a couple of other questions. Will there be another New World Ronin meetup in Europe? Do you believe the Illuminati is real? What are your thoughts on chemtrails, flat earth, and veganism being pushed by the government? Ooh, those are great questions, Sebastian. Very meaty. I'd love to get into those. What do you say we answer those questions in the next episode? Thanks for listening to the Bold and Determined Podcast, friends. Have yourselves a great day.